Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Humbert here, and today we're going to be doing Unit 3, Note 7, so we're going to be talking about multiplying binomials. So remember that binomials, bi means two. If you think about a bicycle, it has two wheels. Tricycle has three wheels, so the prefix bi means two. So we're going to be talking about multiplying things that have two terms in it. So let's take a look at the two methods that we have. So our first method is to multiply the first terms. So you're going to do a method called FOIL. You're going to multiply the first terms, the outside terms, the inside terms, and the last terms. Combine like terms, put it in standard form. This is the most common method that I saw growing up, was called the FOIL method. Now recently, a new method has come out called the box method. Now I really like this box method. If you think back to science, it's kind of going to end up looking like a Punnett square. So you draw your box and you line up the binomial on each side of the box and you line up the terms, multiply in, write out your terms, combine like terms. Either method works. I will let you decide which method you want to use. Pick one and stick to it. That's my recommendation for you moving forward. So let's take a look at each of these. So if you were to use FOIL, okay, FOIL looks like this. You're going to multiply the first term. So x times x is x squared. Multiply the outside terms. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Multiply the inside terms. Negative 1 times x. Multiply the last terms, which is 4. So now we need to combine like terms. So we have x squared minus 4x minus 1x plus 4. That entire thing represents our polynomial, but we want to put it in standard form. So I need to add these two terms together. Negative 4x minus 1x is going to give me negative 5x. So this right here is your final answer. My exponents are going in descending order, and I have all of my like terms combined. Now let's take a look at the box method. So first thing you want to do is multiply out your box. So I'm going to set up my box. So since I have two binomials, I'm going to make a 2 by 2 box. So I'm going to do x plus 2 and x plus 5. It doesn't matter. You could have put x plus 5 going down that way if you wanted to. It doesn't matter how you set it up as long as the same binomial is on the same side. So now I'm just going to multiply into my box. So for this box, I'm going to have x times x. Remember, that's the same as x to the first times x to the first. So you add those exponents and you get x squared. And then I have 5 times x, that's going to give me 5x. Then I'm going to have 2 times x, that's going to give me 2x. And then I'm going to have 2 times 5, that's going to multiply into this box to be 10. So let's write out all of our terms. So we have x squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 10. And now we need to combine like terms. So I need to combine those two terms. So 5x plus 2x, I add the coefficients and then I'm going to keep it as x. So that becomes 7x plus 10. The last thing I need to do is check that my answer is in standard form. And my exponents are going in descending order, so yes, this is a standard form. So that's our answer for number 2. Next, so let's take a look at number 3. Now, I typically do these using the box method. If you want to use FOIL, feel free to go ahead and use FOIL yourself. So then I'm going to do x1 going down this way and 2x1 going across this way. Well, x times 2x, x to the first times x to the first is 2x squared. Okay, x times 1 is just going to be 1x, so I'm just going to write that out as x. 1 times 2x, that's going to give me 2x, that goes in this box, and 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. So let's go ahead and let's write out our terms in the box. If you can look in the box and see what the like terms are, you do not have to write it out like this. So now we can take and combine those terms. So I have 2x squared, and now I'm going to combine x and 2x, which gives me 3x. So then I end up with 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 as our final answer for number 3. Now let's take a look at number 4. Number 4 is going to be similar, except this time, notice that there's some subtraction symbols. So when I write that out, I'm actually going to write that as a minus 1. So I'm making sure I take the signs of each of the terms with. So x to the first times x to the first is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Okay, so really check out those signs. Make sure you're holding true to each of the signs. So then you have x squared minus 3x minus x plus 3. Okay, so then we want to combine like terms. So x squared, negative 3x minus x, I get minus 4x, and then plus 3 when you combine those two terms. Okay, next. So let's take a look at this one. So here's where students make a lot of mistakes. When you're multiplying a binomial squared, you cannot just distribute in the exponent. Okay, if there is a plus sign somewhere in their parenthesis, you can't just use rules of exponents and distribute in that exponent. That's not how it works. You have to multiply the binomial times itself. Well, what on earth am I talking about? Let's take a look. So if you have something like x plus 6 squared, you can't just distribute that squared in. That's a no-no. Okay, you have to look at x squared, or x plus 6 squared, as being x plus 6 times x plus 6. And when you look at it that way, you need to use the box method or FOIL. So let's go ahead and use the box method. So I'm going to line up x plus 6 here as well as x plus 6 here. And now I can multiply into the x. So I have x to the first times x to the first. That gives me x squared. X times 6 is 6x. 6 times x is 6x. And 6 times 6 is 36. So now if you go ahead and you write out each of your terms, we're going to want to combine our x terms here in the middle. So you end up getting x squared plus 12x plus 36. So this right here is your final answer. Again, each of your answers should be in standard form. Next, let's take a look at this x minus 2. Well, I want you to look at the x minus 2 squared as being x minus 2 times x minus 2. So we're going to go ahead and draw out the box for that. So we have x and then a negative 2, x and then a negative 2. Well, x to the first times x to the first is x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. So we have x squared minus 2x plus 4. So then we can combine our like terms, and then we get, x squared, and then we have two negative 2x's, so that's going to become negative 4x. Remember, when you add two negatives, it gets more negative. So then I end up having x squared minus 4x plus 4. So let's talk about this next one. When you're multiplying something more than binomials, so if we have 3 terms or 4 terms, okay, you can't just use the FOIL method anymore. The only method you can use is the box method. And all we're going to do is we're just going to make more boxes. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at that. So we have this. I noticed that I have binomial multiplied by a trinomial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a box that's 2 by 3. So I have 4x plus 9 going down the side. Moved on me. So I have 4x plus 9 going down the side. And then here I have 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. So 4 times 2 is 8. X to the first times x squared is x cubed. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. X times x squared, x is x squared. 4 times 3 is 12, and then you want to make sure you keep that x with it. 9 times 2 is 18, and then we want to keep our x squared. 9 times a negative 5 is negative 45, and then we want to keep the x. 9 times a positive 3 is a positive 27. Now here's what I want to point out with you. You can go through and write out all of the terms, but if you notice down the diagonals, I have like terms. So my x squareds are like terms. My x's are like terms. So that way I can combine like terms as I'm writing out my box. So first I have 8x cubed. Then I have 18x squared minus 20x squared. So that's going to give me negative 2x squared. Then I have negative 45x plus 12x, so that's going to give me a negative 33x. And last but not least, I have 27. So this right here is our final answer for number 7. We want to, again, make sure that all like terms are combined and that your exponents are going in descending order. So again, for number 8, I'm going to make a 2 by 3 box. So I have 2 by 3, so I have 3x, and then I'm going to put minus 5 here, 2x squared, 7x, and a negative 8. So now we're multiplying into the box. 3 times 2 is 6. X to the first times x squared is x cubed. 3 times 7 is 21. X times x is x squared. Negative 8 times 3 is negative 24, and then x. Negative 5 times 2 is 10, and then x squared. Negative 5 times 7 is negative 35, and then x. And then negative 5 times negative 8 is a positive 40. Again, as you look down the diagonals, we have like terms. So our largest exponent is x cubed. So that's going to come first, is our 6x cubed. Then we have 21x squared minus 10x squared. Okay, so that should be a negative, and that ends up giving you a negative 11x squared. And then over here I have a negative 24x plus a negative 30x. So that's going to give me a negative 54x. And then we have plus 40 at the end. So really make sure you're keeping track of those negative signs because that's the easiest spot to mess up. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and let's take a look at these guys. So now it's going to be 3 by 3. So our box is going to be 3 by 3. So I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put my first trinomial going down this side. You could put it across the top if you wanted to. And my next trinomial going across the top. And then again, it's the same thing. I'm just multiplying into the box. This time I'm just doing it more times. So 6 times 1 is 6. Y squared times y squared is y to the 4th. 6 or 1 times a negative 3 is a negative 3. Y to the first times y squared is y cubed. Y squared times 1 is y squared. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12, and that's going to be y cubed. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6, and then we have y squared. Negative 2y times 1 is negative 2y. 5 times 6 is 30, and then we have y squared. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15, and then we have y. And 5 times 1 is 5. So again, if you notice down your diagonals, you're going to have like terms. So my largest is 6y to the 4th, so that's going to come first. Then I have negative 12y cubed minus 3y cubed, so that's going to get more negative. So I have a negative 15y cubed, or you could just write minus 15y cubed. And then I have y squared plus 6y squared, which is 7y squared, plus 30y squared, which is going to be 37. And remember, notice I'm not adding the exponents when I add these, so then I get 37y squared. Then here I have negative 2y minus 15y, that's going to give me a negative 17y. And last but not least, I have my constant at the end of plus 5. So if you were to multiply those two together, that would be your final answer. So let's go ahead and let's get number 10 set up, and then I'm going to have you guys finish that one on your own. Okay, so go ahead and finish number 10 on your own here. Let's get it set up though. So we're making the box, and we're going to do it as 3 by 3. 3 by 3. So then we have m squared, 2m, and then minus 3, and then up top, 4m squared minus 7m plus 5. So go ahead and try that one on your own. If you get really confused on it, feel free to bring it to me to school tomorrow, and I'd be more than happy to take a look at it with you. Last but not least, let's take a look at this last word problem. It says the area of a triangle is half the product of the base times its height. So we have 1/2, and then we're going to do the base times the height. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply those first two by using the box method. I'm not going to worry about that 1/2 quite yet. I'm going to worry about that at the end. So 2 times 3, that's going to give me 6x squared, 9x, negative 2x, and negative 3. So then I get 6x squared. I can combine those two terms to get 7x, and then minus 3. So now that I've multiplied the box, I'm going to take that entire thing and multiply it by 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute in that 1/2. Well, this is going to become 3x squared, and then 7x divided by 2, that's going to give me 7/2 x. Or you could write that out as 3.5 if you wanted to. And then negative 3 times 1/2 is a negative 3/2. So this right here represents that area of the triangle. Okay, so that concludes your note video for today. So please, please, please take that Schoology quiz once you're done. Thanks for listening.